Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Cracking the Cryptic. So we learned two things in the last puzzle, which was the classic Sudoku puzzle. One, that they don't inherently have to be easy and still can take way too long if I'm solving them. Two, that there is a three-way split that they're calling Y-wings that I need to keep an eye out. And three, perhaps the most helpful bit of information that is also completely unhelpful. The hints can just be wrong. The handwritten hints aren't 100% accurate. And you would think for the free puzzles, you would get much deeper than puzzle number 5 to run into a hint that is telling you just absolutely the wrong information. Moving forward though, let's forget the past, move forward. We have now a Thermo Night Sudoku, and I think that probably leads me down the path of doing something a little bit more enjoyable. And looking at this, I'm not sure that there is even another classic Sudoku anyways. So we get one in the free DLC, and that's it. Which, okay, that is about one more than I would have wanted to do at this point. Okay, so this puzzle is called Antlers. I've dropped the ball in previous times by not naming the creator by And Van de Wettering. It's Odd Van de Wettering. I don't know if that's a real name or if that's just a pin name. It's a Thermo Night Sudoku, which means classic rules. You must be a 1 and then through 9 in every single row, and every single column, and every single box. And it must appear only once in every single row, column, and box. Also, it has night rules. The same number cannot appear twice in the knight's move, which is going to be 2 forward and 1 to the side. They say 2 over and 1 across, but honestly, that's a bad description because that then implies to me that it should be 2 and then 1 across that direction. And that can be in this direction, and that can be in this direction, and it can be in a downward direction if there's room on the board. There is also thermometers in this. Numbers must increase along the thermometers starting at the bulb, which I feel like thermometers help fairly well anyways. And a normal Sudoku puzzle, you need 17 hints. We have 2 hints, so we have to get numbers to start here. We can see these thermometers are just mirrored, so they take 1 square, 2 square, 3 squares, 4 squares, 5 squares, 6 squares. If they had taken 9, then that we would have known it would have just been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That being said, there is something to this that we can learn, I think, kind of quickly, unless my logic is flawed. If this number and this number here are not, they could be 1, and then it would go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which it can't be 6 here, 7, so 6, 7, 8, 9. Something's weird about that, because we know that the numbers here can't be the same, but they, I guess, could be different. So if this went 1, then 3, and then this one went 2, and then 4, then this one could go 4 here, and then this one could go 5 here, and then this one could go 5 here, and this one could go 6 here. This one could go 7 here. This one could go 8 here. And then 9 and 9. Yeah, I'm not fully following all this. Let's not get too complicated with this then to start with. Let's just answer some basic questions on this one spot. We know it can't be 9. Worst case scenario, this would be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So let's just give 2 and up to 4. And then remove the 2 because we know that's not an option. So this could be 4 here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then in this case, I imagine that's the same possibilities where this could be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So 2, 3, and 4. And then once again, remove the 2. Then let's ask some questions here. If this spot and this spot can't be 6, this can't be 9, 8, 7, 6. So it would have to skip to 5. Then this would have to skip to 4. So we know that this is not 4. And then if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's fine. If this was 3, 4, 5, then a 6 couldn't be here, so it would have to be 7 and 8 and 9. So, I don't know if there's any other options. There's a possibility here. 3, 4, 5, 6 is not viable. 7, if it went 5, 6 here, that's fine. But 3, then 4, then 5, then 7, then 8 and 9 is fine. Also, but then these are paralleled, so it really can't be that way. Is there any way this could be a 7? I don't see how. 7, then 6, then 5, then 4 doesn't get you close enough. So the same is true here. 7, 8. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 doesn't get you close enough. So neither one of these can be 7. But I think both of these can be 8s and 9s. And then if this was either one of these were 1, then 2 can't be here. So let's eliminate that. This could be 1, 3, 4, 5. Can't be 6. Could be 7. Then that's 8 and 9 still at that point. If this one was 1, then this one could be 2. This could be 3. This could be 4. This could be 5. Which does mean this could be 6. But if this was 7, and then it went to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then also as a possibility there. I don't think we're going to get any other information on any other aspect quite yet, but we could perhaps take a moment to just mark via Knight's Path all of the locations that can't be a 2. Let's make sure. Make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah. None of these can be 2 because it's in the same box. So we can do that. It's one more time so we do it correctly in red. Otherwise I won't remember what I was trying to imply with the 2 being in the corner. And in the same way, we can mark by Knight's Path all the places where 6 cannot be. And very possibly that is just a waste of time to have done that, and just puts a whole bunch of negative numbers in places. Although maybe not. Maybe it will play off the thermometer to get us into the corner boxes that barely have any information about them. Okay. If this was 8, then could this be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2? No, but it could be. It could be 8, 6, or it could be 8, 7 even. 5, skipping 6, 4, 2, 1. So there's possibilities there. Do we have any real guarantee that in 9 has to be in this row? And even if we did have a guarantee of that, would that help us going further? What can we guesstimate here as far as what the numbers could be? Let's do it this way, one by one. We know this could be 2. We know it probably could be 3. We know it could probably be 4. And it probably could be 5. At which point then this would be 6, 7, 8, and 9. It can't be 1. On that, then we probably know that this could be 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we probably know that this is 4, 5, and maybe 7. And then this could be 5, 7, 8. This can't be 9, obviously. And it can't be 4 because then that would be 3, 2, 1, 1. This could be 4, 3, 2, 1. This can't be 8 because then that would be 9. 7, 8, 9 wouldn't work. 6, 7, 8, 9 would work. 2, 1 wouldn't work. 5, 6, 7. Okay. So we've plugged in all the possibilities on the thermometer there. I don't know what the next step to that would be, but whatever. So we know this can't be 2 and it can't be 1. It could be 3. It could be 4. And it could be 5. If it was 6, then this would be 7, 8, 9, so that can't be it. Then I imagine it's the same situation here, where it's 3, 4, 5, but it can't be 6 because it's in the same box as this. And if this was 5, that could be 7, that could be 8, that could be 9. And then imagine this is 5 and 7, can't be 4, 3, and 2. And actually, this 3 won't work either. Here. So options are definitely getting eliminated. And this can't be 8 because then that would be 9. Could this be 6? No. Could it be 7? Yes. Could it be 8? Yes. So if we know that there's a 5, basically it has to be in this box. Does that tell me anything? No. Does there have to be an 8 and a 9 in this row? I don't think so. Would that really even tell me something? I think alone, this being a 7 and 8 doesn't really tell me anything. Alone, these two numbers don't tell me anything. These two numbers don't tell me anything. Clearly, your target here is going to be with this square or this square. And then since these two are diagonal and these two are here, can we get to a logical spot where we are 100% certain that there has to be a 1 either here or here or here or here? And I don't even know that would be that helpful, but it would be a start. Is there a possibility that this could be 3? And this is where I think the knight move is going to come into play. If this was 3, then this can't be 4. But this could be like 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, or 1 and 5. If this was 4, then this can't be 4. But it still could be 1 and 3, 1 and 5. If this was 4, then this couldn't be 4, obviously, and this couldn't be 4, obviously, but that doesn't matter too much. I don't think knight's move is going to affect your own line in any way, because the numbers are always going to go up, and obviously the numbers can't repeat. We, I suppose, know that there's going to be a 2 in either this box or this box for the columns. Is there a possibility, I guess, that there would be a 2 here and a 2 in one of these? Yes. I don't think that. that's enough information either. If this was 5 or 7, it wouldn't change too much by the knight's moves. If this was 4, then there couldn't be a 4 but here or here. So I don't think that changes too much. So just looking at the positions that are probably of interest. If I could determine whether this is 3, 4, or 5, I could then know that 3, 4, 5 has to fit here. Yeah, don't I? I think that's the trick. That seems like a crazy trick, but yeah, I think you have a triplicate here where if this is 3, then it eliminates by knight's move and by this line any of these from being 3. So 3 then would have to be here. If this is 4, then this has to be a 4. If this is 5, then this has to be a 5. So does that tell us potentially more information? If this was a 4, and I put a 4 here, or here, then obviously there couldn't be a 4 here. It would just have to go 5, 7, which is not a problem. If this was a 5, then I'd have to put a 5 here, or 5 here, which is not a problem. Yeah, it doesn't tell me anything more. And weirdly, this has more influence than this when this should be the exact same. No, yeah, it is the exact same. I don't know what happened there. 2, 3, 4, and 5 are the only places that could be. Which, that probably tells me something in that there's 4 numbers that can only hold 3 places. This sphere of influence of 1, 3, 4 would mean these 2 can only be 1, 3, and 4. I think that's right. And then these 2 can only be 1 and 3. I think I might be wrong about that. Yeah, I am. These 2 can also be 1 and 3. And these 2 can be 1, 3, and 4. At least in this time, I'm trying to just fill out boxes, not just by doing basic Sudoku options. Guess it might just make sense to fill in the rest of this. Just fill in those options too. It does seem like we're going to pay attention specifically to certain numbers, 1, 3, and 4, and 5, and we're probably skipping 6, 7, 8, and 9 for a good amount of time. and I'm doing this positively in that I'm marking things that can or should be in those positions instead of just using red to negatively mark all the things that can't be in that position, which obviously I've been doing it wrong, and that's in part what has left me with some weird issues. If there was an 8 here, then 5, 7, and 8 could only be in a few places. That's what I'm trying to target. And go ahead and mark 6, 7, and 9. In those spots. This central spot may just end up being 7, 8, 9 in those spots. Seven, 8 here. Five, 7 here. 4, 5 here. I think we're gonna just find out that this can be almost any number. Three, 4, 5. Two, 3, 4, 5. So I've filled in a lot of numbers, but I don't think it helps. I think I'm still very much in a situation where either at 27 minutes into this puzzle, just trying to do the setup and trying to figure out what the trick on the thermometers are and what extra bits of information we can get from the thermometers. It seems like we really haven't added even a single number, and I would just need to brute force it and go into every square and fill in every option, which every time I do that, I end up making at least one mistake, which just causes me frustration later. So before I do that, I think I'll just choose to use a hint. And certainly I'm using way too many hints. Okay. Looking at this 2, we know there can't be a 2 here. So we can remove that. If there was a 2 here, then it couldn't be a 2 here. 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 So the 2 would have to be here in one of these 2 spots. But if this was just 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and then 8 or 9, or something like that, where just 2 was not included at all, well, if that was the case, it feels like you could put a 2 in the middle, and then you could put a 2 here, or you could just maybe put a 2 in one of these other spots, one of these 4 other spots that have a possibility of a 2. I think it probably is worth it just to mark that as being a possible 2. There are no extra special rules. Could this also be a 2? I think it could be. Threes don't really show me anything. Fours aren't really showing me. I don't think anything is going to show me anything here. This is once again one of those cases where I think I'd prefer to just be able to reset everything and make a save state and just start over again, or at least get back to the point where I just had numbers on the thermometer and none of the other markings. Like inherently we know that a 6 is either going to be here or here, or a 6 is going to be here or here. That's pretty obvious. Start with. It's just basic Sudoku. But we know this can't be a 6 and this can't be a 6. So then that eliminates a couple options. And then this also eliminates this being a 6. Which then would make the rest of these as viable as a 6. So I don't think that helps me any further than that. So we just have partially filled in sections. I guess the question certainly to ask here also would be, is it possible that from having a 1, 3 here and a 1, 3, 4 here, can we guarantee that 1 is going to be used? No. Can we guarantee 3 is going to be used? No. Can we guarantee 4 is going to be used? No. So I could look at this entire box and just try and mark every other possibility, which would, I guess, just be 1, 3, 4, 5, then 6, and 7, then 8, then 9. And that seems to be a prime example of the wrong way to fill in numbers, is to just have every single number except for 2 filled in the box with no other logic beyond that. This could be 1 and 4, so there's no guarantee that 3 is in this column. This could be 1 and 4, so no guarantee that there's a 3 in this column. be 4 and 5 and the 7 and 6 here. Doesn't really guarantee anything. Five, 7, and 8 in the 3, 4, 5, 6 doesn't guarantee anything. Almost certainly I should be looking at this thermometer, and almost certainly there should be one pretty obvious number around this. We do know, I guess, that if there's a 7 here, there could be a 4 here, so there's no guarantee that there's even a 5. This could be 9, 8, 7, 4, 3, and 1. Eventually, we will probably prove that there can be a 5 in this square, which then eliminates this as a possibility of a 5 being here, which then potentially may push us to figuring out where the 5 goes in the top or bottom box. So maybe we'll try a smart hint and see what it tells us. Increasing thermos max. Row 5 here, column 3 has a maximum value of 5. Removing 5 from row 6, column 4. Okay, I made a mistake and apparently recognize that. Okay, does that? This could still be 1, 4. And then row 6, column 4 has a maximum value of 4. Removing 4 from row 7, column 4. Alright, row 7, where are we? Row 7, column 4. There is no 4 option here. Maybe they were just assuming that there would have been a 4 here. Unless it's saying... No, it's saying that this square has a maximum of 4. Yes, we see that. We've gotten it to that point now. We missed a mistake there. And that should then remove the 4 from this spot. There is no 4 in that spot. So it feels like the game maybe is generating some of this, but also is over speaking some of it, or just over explaining things that may not actually be the case, which I can kind of excuse that from the smart hint system, because those do seem like those are generated responses. I can't excuse it from the handwritten system as much, but at the very least I probably wouldn't complain that much if you overstated something that didn't need to be stated compared to absolutely writing the wrong row and column number in a handwritten note, which was the problem in the last recording. So, did we learn something new by reducing this? This could be 3, this could be 4, this could be 7, this could be 8, this could be 9. Nothing guarantees that a 5 has to be in this square. still. This could be 3. This could be 1, 4, so 3 doesn't inherently have to be in this square still. If this was 1, 4, then this would have to be 3, which doesn't change anything at all. So, next smart hint, I guess. At least I think I like these smart hints better. I think they're better written. Candidate restriction box. 6 is restricted in row 5, column 4. Let's see. Row 5, column 4. 6 cannot be. 6 is restricted to being here. It says, or here, because the 6 can't be in this, can't be in this, can't be here because of the Knight's Path move. And then row 6, column 5, and row 6, column 6 can't be a 6, just because that would be too big. So let's take that logic and add a 6, which says all of which of these cells C all of which C cells row 5 column 7 Wow, this feels like this is complicated. Row 5 column 7 here. That's that spot. And row 7 column 5 here. Okay. Because of the Knight's Path move. If this is 6, this can't be 6. If this is 6, this can't be 6. And same is true for that. If this is 6, that can't be 6. Okay. That's, I think, a great example of where it gets too complicated for my brain. Okay. So that eliminates 6. Now as a possibility, making 5 be the highest option, which means then this there can't be 5. Not sure it does anything more there. But clearly that's on the path towards fixing things, and there still are other places where 2 could be. Three numbers on the thermometer doesn't mean anything to me. So what would be the next hint from the smart hint? Yeah, I think I may be at a problem here where this entire series is now just going to boil down to me having less and less patience and just using smart hints to cheat the game, which is still better than how I was gonna cheat Sudoku Universe, which was just to type in the entire puzzles into a website. I don't think I could as easily type in this puzzle into a website and get an answer because it's not classic Sudoku. Yeah. Let's actually take this logic to another step. I can't, can I? We've marked a bunch of things, but I can't just say the 3s, for instance, here, here, and here. Guaranteed that this can't be a 3. Because the 3 could be up here too. Yeah, I'm just not learning when is the appropriate time to mark something as a possibility versus when am I just adding information that's not going to be helpful as the process continues. Increasing the Thermos maximum says that row 5, column 7 has a maximum value 5, removing the 5 from row 6, column 6. Row 6's maximum value of 4 removes 4 from here. Ah, should have seen that. And we now have something. I think I'm maybe back on track. Because then this means 1, 3 must be here, which means a 1, 3 must be here and must be here. We can go ahead and take the 1s and the 3s out of those possibles. We can add the 1s and 3s into those possibles. Then, if this is a 1, this can't be a 1, but it could be a 3. And if this is a 3, then this could be a 1, but not a 3. This 1 would eliminate any 1s here, any 1s here, any 1s here. It might tell me something more in this row, and that a 2 needs to be either here or here. A 3 isn't going to be anywhere, so get rid of the 3s and get rid of the 1s. Okay, a 4 could be any of these. A 5 could be any of those. A 6 could be any of those. And then a 7 and an 8 and a 9 could be any of those. Which again, that feels like that really just had me filling in squares with almost every number. Until I can get it down into a triplicate. I don't think that helps me any further. And again, I don't think trying to look at this makes any sense. Because we're nowhere close to a situation where just basic Sudoku would solve the puzzle. And so much of this puzzle is just not filled in. Most of what I'm seeing here is not accurate or helpful information. What's the next smart hint? There's a naked pair in box, a 1-3 pair at row 7, column 4. In row 7, column 6. Removes 1, 3 candidates and all other cells in box 8. Which we already did that. Candidate restriction 3 is restricted to row 7, column 4, and row 7, 6 in box 8, both of which C cells. Row 6, column 4. And row 7, 1, 2, 3, and 7, 8, 9, and then row 5, column 5, and then row 6, column 6. Moving 3s as a candidate from all of those cells. What? I followed the row 7 reasoning there, but the Knight's Path reasoning seems to also eliminate row 5, column 5. And then row 6, column 6. Why is that the case? Why would row 5, column 5, which is not that one, it's that one, isn't it? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exact center, and then row 6, column 6. Why is it that those boxes in particular can't be 3? I guess if this is 1 and 4, then this is 3, so that can't be 3. Okay. And then if that was the case, then this would also not be able to be 3. Okay. And then if this was 3 and 4, then this 3 by Knight's Path can't be a 3. And this spot by Knight's Path can't be a 3. And if this was 1 and 3, then this couldn't be a 3, and this couldn't be a 3. Yeah. And if this was 3, 1 and 3, then this would be 3, so that too would stop that. So there is just no scenario here where 3 can be a number, which maybe doesn't change that much, but it does eliminate a couple more possibilities. I guess the question then would be, is there another point where this would be helpful? The 1, 3, both being in this box already eliminated all the 1s and 3s here. A 1 here and a 3 here. I don't think synergizes to eliminate 2 numbers in one step. What's the next set? There's a naked single in the cast that row 6, column 4 can only be 4. How do we get to that? How did we get to that spot? If this is a 1, why can't this be 3? And then that be 4. Yeah, I guess that can be, because it's literally telling me that's the case. Maybe because we eliminated the 3 here, that eliminated some kind of cross logic. Where? No. If this was 1, 3, then this couldn't be 3 and this couldn't be 1. I think it's been that way this whole time, or at least for a while. So that's gonna be 4. Finally, 54 minutes into this puzzle. And that turned off the smart hints. Yep. Literally almost an hour to get to the very first number. And from that, I think a lot of stuff may start to fall into place. But it would be asking a lot to assume that this is just going to work for the rest of the game. And we'll solve everything. It seems to me like you can't be 7, 8, 9, so that has to be a 5, which then makes that a 7, which then makes that an 8, which then makes that a 9, and in that we now have the decent beginnings of actually doing Sudoku. So on this, it looks like now this can only be 2. I'm not gonna assume that's right. Which gets us closer. It also tells me that all of these numbers have to be a 2. Of those 3 numbers, one of them has to be a 2. I don't know if that helps me much further, as 7, 6, 5 in this section. Directly by basic Sudoku, I don't think helps. I think what we've got to do now is eliminate 4s like crazy. Just eliminate every number. But I don't really want to do that. I think maybe the compromise move here would be to take out things that are on Knight's Pass, but only on Knight's Pass. Just mark those specific spots as a 4. Make it a 4. And yeah, I think that's our smartest way to address this. And don't mark things that are just in the same box. because it would just be other pointless writing. It definitely feels like the odds are really low that there would ever be a case that I would just mark so many numbers as not being capable of being in a place that there would be only one number left. Yeah, I don't suspect that really helped me much. Your best case scenario would be this, that this is either 1 or 3 or 7, and it can't be 7, and it can't be 4, 5, 6, 8, or 9, and it can't be 2. So we have a 1, 3 here, but I don't know for certain that this is a 1, 3 pair. If we could be certain on that, then we might have a solution. So let's just look at this. It can't be 2, it can't be 4. Could it be 5? I'm gonna say yes. Could be 5. It can't be 6. Could it be 8? I'm gonna say, by the looks of it, 8 is a possibility. And could it be 9? Yes. So no, we're not close to a 1, 3 pair. Feels like there might be some limitation here, but maybe not. This 5 doesn't stop this from being 3 or 4. This 7 doesn't stop this from being 4 or 5. This 8 doesn't stop this from being 5 or 7. And this 9 doesn't stop this from being 8 or 7 or 6. See, a 1, 3 entered here, and a 1, 3 entered here. That probably just, again, means that there's missing information. You see a 6. It could be here or here, which tells me that there is a 6 either here or here or here or here. Let's see. Go and mark those as possibilities. And there could be a 6 here, though. Darn it. Thought we'd eliminated that as a possibility. So that doesn't really tell me anything. Just go ahead and undo that mark, because I don't think that's helpful. I think the move is to continue down the path of smart ants. A naked single says that row 7 can only be 1. Row 7, column 6 can only be 1. Why is that the case? Oh, because we locked this down to being 2, and so the number has to be smaller. Okay. Then that means that's got to be a 3. Which means this could be a 1, but it can't be a 3. Let's see. Spheres of influence on Knight's path. As far as what couldn't be a 3 now. This one can't be a 3. Obviously these can't be a 3, that can't be a 3, and that can't be a 3. Spheres of influence on the 1s. This can't be a 1. This can't. That can't be a 1. That can't be a 1. None of these can be a 1. That can't be a 1. This one can't be a 3 either. Does this push us anywhere else? Well, we need a 1 in this row, so there could be a 1 here, or there could be a 1 here. That's a possibility. We need a 3 in this column, which could be here, or could be here. We would need a 2 in... Well, what do we need? We need a 4. So either the 4 is here, or here, or here, or here. Then matched up there. It's such a visual mess. Ideally, I would like to see an evolution of these kinds of games to truly try and target a dumber crowd, including myself in that description. Something that would potentially just slowly fade out cubes that don't matter and that you shouldn't be looking at, and really cheat in your favor. Getting very far away. I want a game that gets so far away from an actual puzzle game that would make you feel like you could even solve Sudokus, and be much closer to what your average first-person shooter is, where you have assistance or RPG shooter type games. Borderlands is a great example of that. Borderlands, there is an accuracy rating and a dice roll that happens in the background that determines what you hit for and how much damage you hit for. It isn't just a pure skill. Are you putting the reticle of the gun on the pixel of the enemy and pulling the trigger at the right time? But yeah, I obviously need a super easy mode that would help me and recognize when I'm struggling. Further to an extent, certainly, before I have to just click Smart Hint. There's a candidate line row in box 5. Okay, 5 can only go in row 4. Why is that the case? which removes 5 as a candidate for row 4, column 7, 8, and 9. Okay, why is it, before we fill that out, the case that 5 can only be in this row? Oh, I see. It's because of this 5. This 5 makes it impossible for this to be a 5, and by Knight's Path it makes it impossible for this to be a 5 and this to be a 5, leaving only this and this to be a 5, and the board is just such a mess I didn't see that, which means this can't be a 5 now. Which means that has to be a 4, and that has to be a 3. Okay. So we may now be on the path to some extent. Let's see, a 4 and a 4 means a 4 has to be either here or here. The 4 by Knight's Path says that can't be a 4, so that has to be a 4. A 3 eliminates that from being a 3, which means the 3 could be here or here, but Knight's Path of this 3 means it can't be there. 3 could also be here. I would hope that there was something more I was gaining from putting this 4 here. It eliminates the possibility of any of these being a 4, and then this eliminates any possibility of this being a 4, which leaves this as a possibility of being a 4, and possibly this being a 4. Is there more information we can mark? We can, I guess, mark a few places here where 3 can't be due to Knight's Path. We can mark a few places where 4 can't be due to Knight's Path. Maybe that helps me, because in this case, since the 4 can't be here, can't be here, and can't be here, and we know this can't be a 4, that leaves us with just this, and this being a 4. And I guess if a 3 can't be here, and can't be here, that leaves us with just that, and that potentially being a 3. It almost seems like we're at a point now where, with the current settings and rules, we could start to do more basic Sudoku solving. Okay, why can this not be a 2? It seems wrong. Why can none of these be a 2? That seems wrong too. I get why this couldn't be a 2, but why can this, and then this and this not be 2s? Everything I see seems to indicate that those all can be 2s also. 2 can't be here, however. And 2 can't be here, however. Which means 2 has to be here. Okay. Which means these 2 can't be 2s. So that narrows down the possibilities. Also means these can't be 2s. But I don't think there's anything that stops these from being potentially 2s. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid just randomly using more smart guesses, smart hints. Is there a reason why this can't be 3? Yes. There's also a reason this can't be 3, and then by Knight's Path and Knight's Path that can't be a 3. So that has to be a 3. Great. That also tells me now that 2, 3 should be options, and 2 and 3 have to be an option. That also means either this or this is a 3, which maybe doesn't help that much. This 3 and this 3. This 3 eliminates this from being a possibility of a 3. So we have a 2-3 pair now, which I think that means we can just get rid of the 6. Like we just know for a fact that there must be a 2 and a 3 in this column. I don't know if that's true though. Like there might be another way in which this plays out, in which the 2 is here and then 3 is here or here, and then there's a 6 or some other number there. Moving on to the 4s. I don't know if there's too much more we can derive from the 4s. Is there a reason in particular why this couldn't be a 4 or this couldn't be a 4? Yeah, I think that's probably more accurate of a way of guessing it. Is to generally just assume any of those could be a 4 and any of these could be a 4. So we may be making progress in filling in the truth, but we aren't making that direct progress to filling in the exact answer. If this is blocked by the 5 here and can't be here by Knight's Path and can't be here by Knight's Path, then we know this is a 5. I still wish there was a way to have toggle on when I'm like in this mode, and then toggle not on, multi-select not on, when I'm marking something. It's just kind of crazy to not have that assistance. Also, when you mark something, it should by default deselect everything. That is very obvious basic programming as far as what it should do. Like, once you've confirmed something, it should deselect something. You should not still be on that number and then hit a different number and undo your progress, and then potentially not recognize that you undid your progress. Okay. It's 5 blocks. We can't have a 5 here. Can't have a 5 here. We could potentially, I think, have a 5 here. And yeah. Before we start adding numbers, let's see if this is accurate. This 5 can't be here. Yeah. I think there's just a ton of places here we can mark that could be a 5. I don't see any reason why this couldn't be a 5. 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 1, 2 would stop that from being a 5. I guess. Is there anything that stops that from being a 5? No, I don't think so. 5 stops all of this from being a 5, but I don't think it stops any of those two from being a 5. This 5 stops this from being a 5. It stops these two from being a 5. And would stop this from being a 5. But I don't think it does anything to stop that from being a 5. And then there is no 5 anywhere close to these, which makes me assume all of those could be a 5 if this is a 7. That seems probably a more truthful option, and yeah, we might as well, while we're at it, just add a 5 as an option over here too. That's almost certainly the most accurate thing. This does tell me that a 5 needs to be here or here, so we can mark that. I don't know if that helps much. There will be a 5 in this row, which then will reduce the possibilities. 6, I think, is particularly limited. I guess the question to ask is there any reason why these numbers here couldn't be a 6? And these numbers here couldn't be a 6. Nope. I don't see any reason why that couldn't be the case. And then there's also a possibility here as far as 6 goes. Moving on, I guess, to the 7s now. Is there any reason why we couldn't have a 7 here and here? And then is there any reason why we couldn't have a 7 way over here? And I guess in just multiple steps now, I'm effectively just filling in all the boxes like I could have just done in one step, and it honestly would have been faster, it seems, to just go ahead and do that setup and evaluate each box. fill in every single option. I still feel like it would be helpful and nice if you could, by default, just have every box filled in anyways. Just 1 through 9 in every box as you start, and then eliminate it. Because there really hasn't been a single puzzle, maybe one, maybe that very first one. Every other puzzle, I've inevitably come down to a point where I'm having to look at every single box and consider every single number and mark every single possibility of the 9 numbers. And I guess if I just leaned extremely heavily in the smart hands, I might be able to avoid that. But that would be cheating a little too much for my desire. At a certain point, it's just like, why even bother to try and solve the puzzles if you're just going to cheat the whole way through. Okay. Is there a reason why this couldn't be 8? I don't see a reason. I don't see a reason there. And as such, I don't see a reason here or here that there couldn't be an 8. Is there a particular reason why this wouldn't be an 8 or this wouldn't be an 8? No? And is there a reason why these couldn't be an 8? As far as I can tell. It feels like it highlights things differently depending on how I select things, but I don't know if I can really explain or recognize what it actually is highlighting differently. Like, what is the difference between this and then clicking this? The difference is when you click this, you have this lighter gray background. Okay, and that's just making it more difficult to view. I want to make sure I'm not adding back things based on Knight's Path, which I think we may have finally gotten to the point here where the number 1 is the only option. If it can't be 7, it can't be 2, can't be 3, can't be 4, can't be 5, can't be 6, can't be 7, can't be 8 by Knight's Path, can't be 9 by Knight's Path. That's a 1. Okay. Is there a reason why any of these couldn't be 9s? Is there a reason why any of these can't be 9s? Is there a reason why this, or that can't be a 9? So I want to go around again now, because we just did solve the 1. And I do think there is a potential here to make more progress. Let's see. The 1 here means this can't be 1, and none of these can be 1. Which means we need the 1, and this row and this column and this column means that 1 has to either be here or here. So we've gotten far enough. We can say there's a 1 there. Just add 1. And say there's a 1 there. And add 1. But is there anything else that this one tells me about? No. And then in this upper section, is there any reason why any of those can't be a 1? And any of those can't be a 1. We know that one can't be a 1. There's a reason here that these two can't be a 1, and this one can't be a 1. But that's it. That's all we can do for 1s, and I may go through the rest of these numbers and realize I can't do anything else with any of the other numbers. Is there any reason why this or this couldn't be a 2? And then just throw all of those in there too. All of those are possibly a 2. Is there any reason why this can't be a 2? Yes, because the only options for a 2 here is here. I guess we just have to mark everything at this point. Try to be as fast about it as possible. This 3 and this 3 eliminates the possibilities down to this and this being a 3. This eliminates that, this eliminates that, that eliminates that, that eliminates that, that eliminates that, that eliminates that. I think this could be a 3, but then I guess that one eliminates that. And that, and that, and that, and that. So, I think that's correct for 3s. 4s. Looks like they might be correct too. 5s. Look like they might be correct also. Sixes. Looks to me like it's correct, with the only one 6 being on the field. 7s, with only one 7. Looks correct, or almost correct. I guess the question is there a reason why this here and this here and this here can't be a 7? This can't be a 7 because of Knight's Path. And then 8s. Just want to double check all of this. That's correct, I think. That looks correct too. Okay, so I've gone around in circles a second time, and I should stop mentioning the time. How long this has been. Yeah, it definitely feels like as this series continues, I'm just going to increasingly be disappointed in myself as far as how long this is taking and how many hints are necessary. In a lot of ways, this is a game that can very quickly turn into just an interactive, somewhat semi-interactive movie experience where you're much more passively just being told the solutions to enter instead of thinking them up yourself from nothing. Next hint says there's a hidden single column. 8 can only go in row 8, column 4. Let's see. Oh, I see that. And we'll mark that. Okay. So the hope in that would be that that eliminates a lot of other possibilities and opens up a doorway to get back on track, which I think it does. This 8 eliminated any possibility of an 8 being here or an 8 being here, and then the Knight's Path eliminated the 8 being here and the 8 being here, which means the 8 has to be here, which means the 8 can't be here, which means the 8 I think has to be here, because this 8 stops that and this 8 stops that. Okay. So now we consider this 8, and that maybe does nothing for us, but it may give us a point where 8 can only be in one column or one row, and that's what we need to keep an eye out for. Guess what I can also do here is just mark an 8 that way. If an 8 can't be here and it can't be here, it has to be here. So we can eliminate the 8 from a possibility there. Okay. And then 8 being here or 8 being here, I think actually does prove something more, in that this can't be an 8. Regardless of where it is. I don't know if there's any other case in which that would be the situation where we could gain more information. I don't think that is. I don't think we can do anything more. Let's start with the ones. Is there a column or row that I see with just one 1? No. Is there a column or row with just 1 2? No. Is there a column or row with just 1, 3. No, but I can eliminate that 3. Because if there's a 3 here and a 3 here, there won't be a 3 there. And then if there's a 3 here and a 3 here, it would have eliminated that. Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's anything more that can be pulled from that. Moving on to 4s. Is there a single column or row with 4s? No, and did we double check to make sure there wasn't a single column or row with 3s? Doesn't look like it. 5s. 5s are next. A 5 here by Knight's Path says that that can't be a 5. And doesn't really eliminate anything else. Moving on to 6s. Almost certainly there isn't a single column or row of 6s. We have a 6. Wait, well, are we looking at 7s or are we looking at 6s here? Yeah, we're looking at 7s. We have a 7 here, and this may finally finish the thermometers, if this is correct. So a 7 can't be here, or here because of Knight's Path, or here because of just general Sudoku. A 7 can't be here because in either this spot or this spot there's going to be a 7. Does that really mean that? Yeah, at some point there might be a 7. Well, no, a 7 can't be here. So a 7 does have to either be here or here, which would either block a 7 here or block a 7 here. And wherever the 7 is here, the 7 has to be here or here, which would block the other 7. We need a 7 in this row. 7 has to be here. I'm wrong about how I marked it. That's a 7. Okay. And then that was correct. The Knight's Path, a 7 can't be here or here or here. So a 7 has to be here. Which that fixes that 5, but let's address the 7s in the room. Seems like any of these potentially could still be 7. Yeah. I made a mistake, and I don't know if that mistake was really holding me back, but definitely feels like it potentially could have been holding me back. But I don't know. I really don't know if mistakes are holding me back as much as just not stupidity overall is holding me back. It's just making it rather difficult to find the next step, find the next move. Okay, that's a 5, which then would block this from being a 5, and all these from being a 5, and then this entire row from being a 5, and this entire row from being a 5, which means this has to be a 5, 2, which means one of these two are a 5. And one of these two are 5. Don't think by Knight's Path anything else would help. Yeah, it feels like there's a decent danger here in that I'm gonna once again just hit a dead end and not ever really solve this thermometer or get enough information to solve these corner pieces. And I suppose if I was trying to copy Cracking the Cryptic's YouTube videos, I'd probably try to sing some praises on puzzles like this and go, oh, this is brilliant, it's so genius as far as how the solution is. He does that in almost every video I've seen of his. He gets into this probably just repetitive behavior, habit of singing the praises of the in very generic terms of the puzzles, which I think everybody has vocal tics, and certainly I hear a lot of my vocal tics being repeated, or not tics per se, as much as just habits and phrases being repeated. I thought we were looking at 5s here. Yeah, we were looking at 5s. I think we moved to 6s. Yeah. I don't think we can make any progress with 6s. Probably do those as one of the last ones. 7s. Guess we can mark those as being 7s. Not that I'm even gonna actually look at the markings or do anything. I may just be wasting my time. Yep. And that might be why these are taking so long too, is that I'm just over labeling and over marking things. Yeah, from the 7s here. There might be some logic I'm missing. Like, if we know this is a 7, then this can't be a 7. If this is a 7, this can't be a 7. And if this is a 7, this can't be a 7. So let's get rid of that. Do we know anything more from that point? I don't think so, because if this was a 7, then this still could be a 7. If this was a 7, this still could be a 7. But anytime I guess we see a grouping of 3 possibilities, and we'll have to just go around the numbers again to look for this pattern. Anytime we see that, where it must be a 7 by Knight's Path, that is giving us a little bit more information. 8. No, an 8's gonna be here or here. No. And 8 is gonna be here or here. 8 can't be here or here. So if this is an 8, then that can't be an 8 because of Knight's Path. And if this is an 8, then this could be an 8. So I don't think that helps me with anything. If this was an 8, then that still could be an 8, and that still could be an 8. 8 can't be here or here, so we know this is an 8 and this is an 8. Or this is an 8. Okay. Which by Knight's Path means this can't be an 8. Yeah, if this is an 8, then by Knight's Path that's not an 8. If this is an 8 by basic Sudoku, that can't be an 8. Which that does eliminate this, 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 and this from consideration. Now, this is either an 8 or that is either an 8. I'm pretty sure that is right. But I don't think I can go any further with my deductive reasoning with 8s. Then with 9s. 9 can't be here because of 9's pass. Can't be here because of Sudoku. Can't be here just because of it being in the same box. So this can't be 9, this can't be a 9. Why can this not be a 9? That's the last question. If I could prove that this can't be a 9, then I could mark this as a 9. But I don't think that's the case, so let's just add that back to being a 9. That does make a lot of sense. No. Now that if this can't be a 9 and these can't be 9s, these have to be 9s. Which means this is not a 9. And this is not a 9. Wait a minute. Here. Do I not need to toggle the multi-mode? Not if I can draw a box around things. I can just hold down the mouse button. You only need to toggle this so you could individually select things or select things in diagonals. So I definitely have been wasting a bunch of time coming back and toggling things. It might have been helpful in having, if this game had a simplistic tutorial Sudoku puzzle, it would also be helpful to build around that a advanced menu interface usage tutorial to just get the player on board to know all the tricks and twists. I'm never, I mean, you might be slightly pleasantly surprised if you find out that your application or game has an extra feature you can do, but mostly you're just going to be irritated when you realize you've wasted probably hours and hours not using that feature. I think software like Photoshop is probably the perfect example of that, where Photoshop has decades of like menus and options and things built on it. Blender, I imagine, and like the Unreal Engine and Unity Engine has probably a lot of that too, where if you're just not aware of where the button is or whether a function even exists, you could probably waste a lot of time or just be very miserable in your lack of mastery in a complicated software. Of course, there's I'm sure even more cryptic software out there, or maybe archaic might be a better word. So we have a 1 here and we have a 1 here now, and so maybe 50 minutes ago even I could have already put the 1 here, but maybe not. This eliminates all these, this eliminates all these. That makes that the only possibility for a 1. And then everything else has been eliminated by default automatically by Knight's Path, so I don't have to do that extra work. And then what I want to figure out is if there's some other pattern here that we could confirm that could eliminate some more possibilities for the 1s. I don't think so. Nothing jumping out. Let's just make sure that there isn't one and only one option for every column in every row. We're getting kind of close, but then you have this pattern being repeated on both sides. Eventually that will, I think, change. Okay. Deselect 2. Now 2, I do now know something about 2s, and that this can't be a 2, because whether this is a 2 or this is a 2, this won't be a 2. This might be a 2. This could be a 2, and this could be a 2. And then whether this is a 2 and this is a 2, that won't be a 2. Whether this is a 2 or this is a 2 would determine whether this couldn't be a 2 or whether this couldn't be a 2. So that doesn't help. This is a 2, then this can't be a 2 and this can't be a 2. But if this is a 2, then just this can't be a 2. So I think that may eliminate this as a possibility. Yeah. This 2 would eliminate that, this 2 would eliminate that. So that's not a 2. It gets us close. Definitely gets us close. Closer, at least. I feel like we may solve the puzzle with this being the absolute last piece of the puzzle. Is this already solved here? Is there possibly no other option? Well, we're looking at 2s. Let's just evaluate that and we'll move up to 3s and then we'll work our way to 6s. I suspect that may be locked. If this is a 3, then that's not a 3. If that's a 3, that's not a 3. Seems like there's only one 3 possibility here left. Yep. Three. Okay. 4 can't be here. 4 could be here. 4 could be here. Why are those not marked? If that's the case. I don't think we can do anything more with 3s. This and can I draw a diagonal? No. 4 and 4. Okay. Moving on. there's a 2, and this says it has to be a 2 now, so almost certainly this is a 2. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and mark this as a 2, because this 2 eliminates these from being 2s, and this 2 eliminated all of those from being 2s, and this 2 eliminates that. I mean, this also eliminates all of these from being 2s. So we needed a 2 in this box, we needed a 2 in the middle. When we mark that as a 3, that means this has to be a 2. Okay. I don't know if that opens up any other possibilities. Doesn't seem like it. And now we know that the 4 has to be here for these 2, which we can just mark that as a 4. Okay. And then if these can't be 4 and this can't be 4, and then this stops that from being 4, and this stops that from being 4, and this stops this from being 4, and this obviously stops that from being 4. That leaves this as the only 4 option. Late to the party, I guess, but I do feel like I've gained momentum enough that I'm not 100% guaranteed that I'm going to have to go back and use the hint again. I might be able to solve the rest of this. This is either 6 or 8. Is there any reason why this can't be an 8? No. This stops it from being an 8, so this is 6. This is 8. That means one of these two are 8. This 8 and this 8 and this 8 make that 8 in the middle. Then these 2 make that 8. Which then this has to be 8. Which then leaves this, and this is 8. Good. Don't think we can do anything more with 1s. I'm just starting over. Not sure I can do anything more with 2s. Seems like we're almost to the point where there will be only one possibility. I think we may already be at that point, though. Yeah, the only 2 here is this, because of this 2 and Knight's Path blocking those 2 options, and this basic Sudoku blocking that. That means then this can't be 2, these can't be 2, and then this eliminates those 2, so that has to be 2, which then this is blocking off everything, this is blocking off everything, and this is blocking off everything, and then this Night Path is blocking off that. That has to be 2. That probably is as far as we can go. I would say there's, well, maybe not, because this row and this row eliminates everything. So then that has to be 2. And then this and this and this makes that 2. We're going to be done with all the 2s. 2s are done. And I think I feel like I was able to recover at some point there and actually start solving these without using hints. Yeah, and undoubtedly a significant portion of whether or not I need hints or not has to do with just how I'm feeling and my own attitude on it. I definitely think if I come into a puzzle and I'm bright-eyed and cheery, I'm just willing to spend that extra 5 minutes looking for the solution myself, whereas if I'm feeling exhausted and a little bit more negative based on previous puzzle experiences, I'm more quickly willing to just quit early and ask for a hint. Is there a reason why this can't be a 4? See why these can't be 4s. But the closest 4 we have otherwise is here. So I'm gonna mark this as being potentially a 4. And put that in I just don't know categories. Now, should I consider that a mistake if I find a cube that should be pencil marked and isn't? Or should I just take that as part of the trade-off of trying not to waste a lot of extra time pencil marking every square? Definitely I want to be able to get as close as I can to the point where I don't have to pencil mark things, or I pencil mark very few things instead of just overly marking everything. Okay, if this is a 5 or this is a 5, that is not a 5. I don't know if that helps too much. If this is a 5 or this is a 5, that 2 is not a 5, and then that 2 is not a 5. Which, still not sure that really helps. So let's move on to 6s. 6s may still very well be too far away from our grasp. May just not have enough information. If this is a 6, or this is a 6, or this is a 6, which this has to be a 6, because this can't be a 6, then we know that's not a 6, and that's not a 6. But this could be a 6, and then this could also be a 6. Or this could be a 6, and then this wouldn't be a 6, but then this could be a 6, and then but this could be a 6, and then this might still be a 6. Yeah, I don't think we can do anything more. 7 and 7s. 8s. And then 9s. Now this obviously can only be 9. There. Which means either this or this is 9. Can this be anything else? Can this be a 1? Nope. Just looking at this row, this has to be a 9. Which then makes all of these potentially a 9. And probably isn't going to help any further. We have made a lot of progress, but it is still dancing around this cube and this cube. Let's work our way backwards here. Do we have any columns rows that absolutely have to have a 9? No. Do we have anything with 8s as far as columns or rows? No. Do we have any singled out squares in a column or row? For 7s, no. Any singled out squares? For 6s? Well, let's see. Is there? A 6 has to be here, so it can't be here. And a 6 can't be here, so that has to be a 6 by Knight's Path. That eliminates that. Then when we have a 2, that also eliminates that. And then if we know one of these has to be a 6 by Knight's Path, we know that's not a 6. Is there anything else we can take from this? No, it's just slowly chiseling away the possibilities. 5 by Knight's Path. This can't be a 5. I'm hoping I'm doing this right, and I'm counting the right number of steps. If this was a 5, this couldn't be a 5, but if this is a 5, this could be a 5. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to look at. 4. Well, wait a minute. If this is a 4, or this is a 4, we know these can't be 4s. Then by Knight's Path, that can't be a 4. If this was a 4 and this couldn't be a 4, which just by default we already know that this is a 4. But we could also ascertain that another way by saying if this is a 4, this is a 4, it gets rid of that, and then it makes that a 4. And then once this is made as a 4, it would have, by Knight's Path, gotten rid of this 4 anyways. So that is a 4, and that is a 4, which then that eliminates all other possibilities except for that being a 4. We should be done with the 4s now. So there's our second number. Let's look at the 3s now. And we may not be able to do anything new with the 3s. I guess in general we're still just looking to see if there's a singled out square in a column or row. Let's look at the 1s. Let's see. Nope, doesn't seem like there's anything we can do with the 1s. Go around again. We have now just boiled down to going through all the numbers like I was doing in Sudoku Universe. The interface is better, and it's actually leading to making the right decisions way more often than Sudoku Universe. But yeah, we have kind of just boiled down, now that we've solved all the thermostats, that this is just a basic Sudoku puzzle at that point. And if the classic Sudoku puzzle that started with numbers took me 50 minutes, and this is taking 130 minutes, the comparison to speculate there is that variants that add more rules actually do take a longer amount of time. That being said, it may not matter, that they're more fun. That is a much more interesting aspect to it. This is weird. This by Knight's Path would have eliminated this from being a 9. But it's being marked like it has to be a 9. And it really should have been that. Yeah, okay. And I don't know if there's anything else we can do with the 9s. Like, we may just have like a 7-9 pair here. Which, that may be the last bit of this whole trick. Is that if this is 7, it gets rid of 7 here. And then you can't have a 7 here. So this has to be 7. Is there a reason why we can't have a 7 here? Or did I just not mark that possibility? Nope, I was about to make a mistake there. I think, yeah. Because there can be a 7 here. And there probably could be a 7 here. Yeah, I'm not seeing a reason why you couldn't have a 7 here. So let's just mark that correctly. If this was a 7, or this was a 7, then this wouldn't be a 7, so that's probably why it's not marked. Yeah, that's what I was getting that information from. Undoing my own progress. Sixes. It does feel like a change of tactic. It may be quickly approaching. Or the need for a change of tactic may be quickly approaching at least. Alright. What could we do otherwise right now to, other than either going through it again or clicking smart hint or reading the regular hints, which I've given up on the regular hints basically. Ones. Do we have some kind of pair where there would be two numbers in the same location? You know, a 3 is here, so one of these is going to be 3. I don't think that helps. 3. Again, we know one of these is going to be a 3. All these little numbers in the corner, it does just seem like the move is that you have to fill it in. Let's take a break here. Let's think per box. Where can you put a 1 in this box? In these 3 spots, it seems. Or can you put a 1 in this box in these spots? Columns and rows also need to be considered, not just boxes. Threes could be in this box, 3s could be in this box, 3s can be in this box. I mean, obviously, every number is going to be once in each box. If there's just a way to prove that this can't be a 5. the 7-9 pair here. Let's highlight that. It's probably part of the solution. Yeah, my eyes would be drawn to finishing this center box. Let's go 7. If this was 7, then this couldn't be 7, but either one of these could be 7, and this could be 7. And then if this was 7, then these two couldn't be 7, and then this could be 7, and this could be 7. If this is 7, then this can't be 7, and this can't be 7. And then this would have to be 7. I don't think any of that helps me at all. And yeah, we're just not going to get this solution to 8 until we got a column or row that has been filled in by all the other numbers. 9 barely has any information in it. If this was 9, then this can't be 9, and these can't be 9, but this could be 9. If this is 9, then these two can't be 9, but this and this could be 9. We've gone around in the numbers far too many times already. It's time to use the smart hint again. I was hoping that I would get lucky and I could solve the rest of this puzzle without using a smart hint, but there is just too low of a chance of figuring this out. What if it's not the 7 and 9 pair, then it would have to be that it's a 1 and a 1-9 over here and a 1-7 and a 7 and 9. That's probably what we should consider first before we get a hint, I guess. If this was 1, then this would be 9 and then this would be 7. That works. If this was 7, then this would be 9 and this would be 1. And if all three of these were in the same box, that would mean something more. If this was 9, then this would be 1, and then this would be 7. If this is 7, then this would be 1, and this would be 9. If this was 9, then that would be 7, and that would be 1. All three of those variations are valid. If this was 1, then this would be 7 and this would be 9. So we could just figure out whether this is 7 or 9 to then figure out whether this is 7 or 9. All of those would be fine. None of these points are in the knight's path of each other. And the only one that would actually be in the knight's path would be this one, eliminating this possibility. So if this was 9, it wouldn't change anything because there's already a 9 here. If this was 7, it would get rid of this and this, leaving 7 here and 7 here. Which is still very doable. Give me a smart hint though. Candidate restriction box. 7 is restricted to row 5, column 6, and row 6, column 5 in box 5, both of which cells C row 8, column 6 here, and row 6, column 8. Removing 7 from being a candidate from those cells. Okay. This one by knight's move gets rid of that if it's a 7. This one gets rid of that if it's a 7. I missed that. Okay. And then this one by knight's move says that can't be a 7 if that's a 7. And or if this is a 7, that can't be a 7. So that gets rid of that. And I don't think we need to go possibly any further than that now. Because now that this can't be a 7, these two have to be a 7, which then eliminates that from being a 7. So let's just go ahead and mark that as being a 7. These two, nothing else could have been a 7. Which then boils it down to either this or this being a 7. Which then means those aren't 7s. Can we take it to the next step? Well, yes we can, because when this was a 7 by knight's path, this became a 9. And then this became a 7. So maybe I can now, from this spot, continue all the way to the rest of the solution without using any other hints. Definitely feel like I'm possibly going to get there. Get rid of that background. Right. Look at the ones now. Don't think I can do anything more with the ones. Look at the 3s. Should be looking at the 7s pretty obviously. That was the numbers I was working on before. This is 5. It can't be 6 or 7. And can't be 9 because of the knight's path here. So this one has to be 9. And then just by this column alone, that has to be 5. This one can't be 7 for some reason because of this knight's path, which means that has to be 6. And that has to be 7. So we have another box filled in. We have 3 boxes in the center filled in, and we're fairly close to being done. And then without checking, I'm gonna just have faith and say that's right. And then I'm gonna assume that that's right. I assume that's right. And then that eliminates most of our possibilities. And that's the ones done. We may not be able to go any further with the 3s yet. Don't think we can go further with the 5s yet. Still some stuff needs to be done with the 6s. Same is true with the 7s. We're still probably not at the point where we can touch the 8s. Let's see. I'm noticing though that this is a 6 that's alone. Okay. Let's look at the 7s. Nines. Okay. This has to be a 9. Then that has to be a 9. Then that has to be a 9. That's the 9's done. And then let's just look on the board to see if we have one that is left empty. No, let's just work our way backwards here. Eight's still not doable. 7's still not doable. 6 is still not doable. 5's still not doable. And then 3's still not doable. So there is another restriction logic thing I need to consider here. And I imagine it's either the 5s or the 8s. So let's look at the 5s. If this was a 5, then these wouldn't be 5s, and then this would be 5. And this has to be a 5, doesn't it? It's already been marked, so don't even have to think any further. Just find the thing to click on, and then all of a sudden you're done with 5s. Let's go to 8s then. Now there's only one 8 possible in that box, which then that solves our 8s. We should be done fairly quickly now. It'll just come down to what is the next possible solution. Looks like it's 6s. Although filling in that 1 6 seems to really have only opened the door to fill in that 1 3. Which filling in that 1 3 doesn't feel like it's moved us any further. I really need to stop using the red numbers. I don't think the red numbers helped me at all in this process. And I don't think the game and the interface itself particularly uses any logic when you mark something in red in the corner. I possibly should be using like X's instead, but I think X might also be the wrong way to depict things. Actually, what do all these different buttons do? When I click on this, and it's 1 2 3. If I add a 3 and undo, yeah, I have no idea what these buttons do. I need to play around with the interface more, because whenever we are in this mode on this side, by default it's just always been here. So when I'm in this mode and I highlight two things and press the 6, it adds 6 like that. Yeah, I think that's what it does. Whereas then if I'm in this mode and I highlight two things and put a 6, it puts a 6 in the corner. And if I was in this mode and I put a 6, it would make it 6. Okay. So it's asking you basically when you're in highlight mode, in the marking mode, what do you want to do? Which I guess theoretically might mean you never need to manually come into like the corner marking mode, or you can have the corner marking mode in particular always be in red, and same is true for the center number mode. Yeah, there's actually several redundant buttons here, I would say. And maybe room for more colors, backgrounds, and room for more ways to mark up the puzzles. What's funny is we have 3 numbers left, and it feels like we've just hit a wall. If this is 7, then neither one of these are 7, so this has to be 7. And that has to be 7. Then that has to be 7. And I guess I got over the wall pretty quickly there. And then that leaves this as being only 3. Which means that has to be 3. Which means that has to be 6. And that has to be 6. And that has to be 6. And so we're done with 6s. And we are done with this puzzle. So before we leave now, since whoops, well, I was going to look at the hints. We'll just go back and look at the hints. 157 minutes on the dot for Antlers puzzle number 6. And antlers are really just the description of the thermometer here. I wonder if I was to come back in a year or 2 or 5 and play this again, if I would do any better on the time. Sandwich Sudoku might be a little bit easier too, but if we're looking at the difficulty scale here, it just goes up and up and up as far as difficulty. Decent chance I'm going to end this whole series just on a 6-hour video or something ridiculous like that. And there's still not really a way to break up the recordings, not in a good way. Hopefully the hope is I'll just get better at solving the puzzles. So let's see what the written hints were. Positions for box 6 means that row 5, column 7 cannot be 6, and now there is a 1, 2, 3 or 1, 3, 4 triple in row 6, column 4, and row 7, column 4 and 6. See if we can just kind of mark this. Positions for 6 in box 5 means that 6 can either be here can just mark this rather quickly. Interesting, it kept my settings, I think. 6 can be here. Which means row 5, column 7 here cannot be 6. Apparently there's a reason why that would be the case. Yes, because of the, even if there was a 6 here, ninth path would say that can't be a 6. Which then means for row 6, column 4, and row 7, column 4 and 6. The options are 1, 3, and 4. Row 6, column 6 must be 2. I don't follow the logic there, per se. Why does this have to be 2? You know that none of these can be 2. Sure. But what prevents this from being a 2, or this from being a 2? If this was 3, this could be 4, this could be 5, this could be 6, this could be 7. So I'm already disliking this first hint, in that I kind of would like some drawings or animation to kind of explain and show how it's being done in the first place, but at the very least I'd like some text explanation as to how they made that leap in logic between this having to be a 1, 3, 4, and frankly I'm not sure why this also isn't a 1, 3, 4 possibility, making it a quadruple. Row 7, row 6, column 6 must be a 2. Why? Why in the world must it be a 2? Why can it, like, how much logic do you have to go through to say it must be a 2? How many different possibilities do you have to eliminate? I think almost certainly, since we got the puzzle solved, we went through those steps of logic, but they are just ignoring all that. Hint number 2 would have been the left-hand thermal can be completed for position 5 in box 5 to resolve row 4, column 8, and then 3 and 5 can be placed in box 5. Well, the hint is not helping at all in that. It's just saying this can be completed. Good to know. So that can be completed for positions for 5 in box 5. Then means that either the 5 has to be here or the 5 has to be here. And then wherever you find the possible positions of these 5s, that means that row 4, column 8 you get some information, and then by getting that information it then recursively helps you place 3 and 5 in box 5. Okay. 8 and 7 now can be placed after that point in column 4. Okay, and then row 4, column 5 is naked, and row 3, column 6 is now naked. Row 4, column 5, row 3, column 6. I guess maybe some of the Knight's Path solutions also help figure out these answers. Then hint 4 would have been considering the 4s. So at that point, you should have been close enough where you could consider the 4s. Row 4 and where the 8 goes, I guess, in row 4. But just considering the 4s overall in the puzzle and considering row 4 overall in the puzzle and where the 8 goes in column 2 and how both row 5 and column 6, I kind of wish you could hover over these and it would just highlight the spot. Or if you're looking at the hint, it would just highlight the spots. Then that would be helpful. Row 5, column 6, and row 6, column 5, both see row 7, column 5, which then probably would tell you how to fill that in. Soon understanding the remaining unfilled cells in box 4, all see row 7, column 3, and unfilled cells in box 8 see row 9, column 3, and that helps you complete the rest of the puzzle, apparently. That last handwritten note hint being absolutely useless if you aren't mostly close to solving it anyways. Let's go ahead and just start this new and then go back to the puzzle selection menu because I don't want them flagged. I was thinking about this puzzle title where it's 500, 500, 500, which I assume is for their 500 million subscriber at Cracking the Cryptic's YouTube page. A puzzle called 500, 500, 500, though, is going to be weirdly named because unless there's a weird variant of Sudoku, you can't have the solution be 500 because you don't have zeros, first of all, and you couldn't have 3 5s in a row in most Sudokus and 6 zeros in a row. You could make a puzzle celebrating an odder number like 512 subscribers. But then even if you did that, it would have to be that the solution is like 512 here, 512 here, and 512 here. It couldn't be 512 in the same boxes or in the same rows. It could be 512 here, 512 here, and 512 here, which that might be a little bit more difficult than going fully diagonal, but it might not be really any difference. Actually, it might be easier if it was all in one row. Yeah, I wonder here too, as far as thinking about, is there really a real manageable way to record this if I shouldn't show the puzzles like this and then let people potentially work on it in between episodes. I don't know the rules to sandwich Sudoku, so theoretically if I was going to do that, I need to come in here and highlight the rules. Sandwich rules on top of classic rule says the numbers outside each column and row corresponds to the sum of the numbers between 1 and 9 that are in the row or column. So what in the world does that mean? Shouldn't it always add up to the same? How in the world could you have a column that added up to 3 when 1 through 9 needs to be included in this? Shouldn't the number be 18 if it's 1 through 9 no matter what? The number outside each column or row corresponds to the sum of the numbers between 1 and 3 that are in the row and column. That makes no sense. It would make sense if it was 3. Well, nothing. You have like a 2 here. Like, there's no way to get to a 2. Interesting. And we have extra buttons now on the side, and the interface has changed. And I'm noticing that there's sandwich combinations also as an extra option. So yeah, that will be intriguing for the next episode. And I guess I've done as much as I can to show what the puzzle is. So if people want to try and solve it in between, I don't know if that's good content creation or not. It's generous and the smarter way to do it, but it also very much encourages people to solve the puzzle and then not watch my next episode, which I don't know if I agree with that. And if I was going to go down that route, then why am I not just solving the puzzles off screen? Well, and why am I not at some point just cheating and scripting that I'm going to have like a 30-minute episode and pretend like 30 minutes or is how long it took me on the first try to solve the puzzle? I mean, you could definitely fake it. Yeah. Just for time saving reasons. Yeah. I don't know the point of doing any of that though. This may very well be about the most pointless series for as long as it's running. Anyways, I'm rambling on. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.